Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment. And for those of you that watch these videos fairly often, you'll know that I do these reviews in all types of weather all around the year. And this certainly classes as one of the colder ones, I would say. Lovely, cold, crisp afternoon, bright blue sky as you can see behind me, but you know, temperatures in London have really been struggling to get anything above zero for the last 4 or 5 days. So you can see the ground around me is frozen solid. I certainly won't be doing any work really up here, but I did want to come and check that everything was okay, and also to talk to you about a whiskey. So I'm sure you didn't tune in to hear any of that, but you of course tuned in to hear about what the Allotment Dram is today. So what is it, I hear you ask? Well, it's from a distillery that's very well known, very famous, one of the biggest selling Scotch single malt brands in the world. And it's a bottle that we received as a gift very recently. So it is the Macallan 12 years old Double Cask. So as I say, Macallan, one of the biggest selling Scotch single malt whiskey brands in the world. It sits in third place, and very consistently in third place actually. Only Glenfiddich and Glenlivet actually outsell it. Really sort of big brands, amazing distillery, originally founded in 1824 by a gent called Alexander Reid, and it sits on the Elches estate. And it sort of overlooks, it sits quite high on a hill, and it looks over, you look down and you can see the River Spey kind of running sort of round in a big curve and across to the village of Craigellachie. So yeah, it's a lovely spot, and if you're ever in that area, I urge you to go and see it, because in 2018 they opened the new distillery, which is a real architectural gem. It's not really anything at the time or even now that really looks like it to produce whiskey in Scotland. So yeah, fabulous place. They produce it's quite staggering 15 million litres a year there now. But the frightening thing is they've actually got the scope to expand even further. There's space to actually put like other equipment in to almost double the capacity again. So you can see Macallan's only going in one way, and very famous. It's James Bond's, particularly during the Daniel Craig era, it's James Bond's favourite Scotch single malt. So, but what can I tell you about the Double Cask 12 years old? Well, this is really an exponent. It really shows what Macallan do very well, and that's the use of the old sherry casks. So this is 100% sherry cask, and what's happened here is they've used Oloroso sherry seasoned casks. So 2 different types of cask. So if you see sherry cask on a whiskey label, it's 9 times out of 10 it will be Oloroso sherry. There's other types of sherry which are used, they're becoming a bit more prominent now, but 9 times out of 10 it will be Oloroso sherry. So what's happened here is American oak casks and European oak casks have been filled with Oloroso sherry for a time. The sherry has then been tipped out, and the cask then sent to Scotland, where the Macallan have filled both types of cask with their new make spirit. They've then been aged for 12 years, and then at 12 years they're emptied and married together, hence the name Double Cask. So it sits in the core range, it's bottled at 40%, so readily available. I mean, you might even find a big supermarket with a good whiskey selection should have this, and it should cost you around 65 to 70 pounds. If you can't find it in a big supermarket, then certainly all the specialist retailers will have it. So I think without further ado, that's probably enough chat about Macallan and the bottling. So I think we're going to open this and have a taste. So let's do that. I'm just going to brave it and take off my glove to just... There we go. But I'll only take my glove off for a short minute. There we go, a nice healthy dram. back on. And even in this cold weather, you know, sometimes whiskey can be a bit muted in the aroma and the taste. You know, in cold weather, this is why, you know, if you add ice to a whiskey, it's sometimes a little bit muted. You know, very refreshing, but sometimes muted. But even then, I'm getting these wonderful notes leaping out of the nose. You know, a lovely golden touch of amber there in the colour. Beyond the nose is a lovely, some dried fruits and butterscotch I'm getting first up. And then some vanilla. It's a lovely, like, vanilla custard sort of note. Yeah, lovely. And then there's some, you know, dried fruits, as I say, like raisin, sultana. There's some citrus as well. It's like this sort of candied orange or dried orange peel. Yeah, very, very nice. Very enticing, actually. And I don't think I should really wait any longer. You know, I need warming up in this sort of bitterly cold weather. So let's have a taste. It's quite sumptuous. This is what you tend to get with sherry cask matured whiskies. They tend to be quite rich, quite sweet, and Macallan make this quite sort of heavier, oilier style of spirit. And this type of spirit always, you know, goes very well with the old sherry cask. So, you know, you think of other brands that are known for their sherry casks. They all have, you know, quite short, fat stills like Macallan do, and you know, they all make this sort of heavier, oilier type of spirit. And then they all use sherry casks. So you think of like Dalmore, you think of Glendronach, you think of Aberlour, Glenfarclas, and so on. Yeah, I think I need another reminder before I go into any details of the palate. So let's have another taste. Sumptuous, rich, almost a little bit thick. Feels a little bit thick on the tongue. Say this sort of vanilla. You've got this sort of dried orange peel, butterscotch, these dried fruits, the raisin and sultana that I mentioned from the nose. But now there's much more. Yeah, that combination is giving me a little tip towards like Christmas cake, or, you know, Christmas pudding, something like that. There's a hint of like toffee apple as well. There's a hint of gingerbread also. Some honey coming through. It's like a sort of custardy thing. Lovely sort of vanilla custard maybe. And then some... Hello! That's Trevor, my neighbour, just waving at me. So, yeah. So where was I? Yeah, sort of some honey and like a vanilla custard. But then there's some lovely warming, and I don't know whether it's just because of today, but and the coldness of the day and the air around me, but there's some lovely warmth, warming sort of oaky and baking spices. You know, you think of cinnamon, there's some allspice, maybe some mace or nutmeg, something like that. So yeah, very, very nice. I'm just going to have another little sip just to make sure I stay nice and warm before I do my little roundup. Very delicious. You know, so good. I mean, you can see why a lot of people like it. It sits really, really shows off what good sherry seasoned cask can give you over this sort of length of time. You know, 12 years. Really gives you this richness, this sweetness, this warmth, real sumptuous, almost luxurious quality. So, you know, this is why a lot of people like it. And of course, you know, Macallan are very good. They have very good marketing and promotional sort of things. But, you know, the liquid has to be good to get anywhere. You can only have so much marketing or whatever, you know, but the liquid has to be good. So, yeah, I think without further ado, I'm going to start moving around and maybe have another couple of sips of this to try and keep warm before I head home. But from myself and the Macallan 12 years old double cask, we will bid you farewell, and we let you get on doing whatever you were doing before you stumbled across this video, and we hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.